Hi, this is Ms. Serratis. In this video, we are going to look at the What's My Grade assignment. So for this assignment, we're not going to use Excel. We're actually going to use Google Sheets, which means that you can technically do this from home. All you need is computer access and the internet. So you go to your assignment posted in Google Classroom and open it up. And what you want to do is scroll down to the area where it says Your Work, click on Create, and click on Sheets. And what that'll do is attach to your assignment a Google Sheet with your name on it. I'm using a fake student, that's why it says CMS student. So the cool thing is your work will automatically be attached. So you click on it and that'll open up the Google Sheet drive. I'm looking at the directions, and the first thing it wants me to do is type in the title. So I'm going to type in What's My Grade? And then enter and type in the subtitle, which is computers. And then there's some formatting, and the formatting is going to ask you to merge and center through column D and to make it bold size 12. So merging and centering in Google Sheets is slightly different than in Excel. So first I'm going to select A through D, A1 through D1. Again, only one row at a time, so that's the same. This is the merge and center button. When I click it, nothing seems to happen to the words, but if you notice, the cells were all put together. Now to put in the center, click here, and now it's in the center. And then I need to bold it and make it size 12. And then I was asked to actually do the same thing for the second row, the subtitle, but I'm just going to use my format painter. It works the same as in Excel. First, I'm going to select the whole row. I'm going to click on the painter, and then I'm going to go ahead and click here on the second row, and it did it. Great. The next direction is to actually start typing. So it says that in column B, you're going to type your actual assignments, and in column D, you read that correctly, you're going to type your grades. But in column A, you're going to type the category, whether it's an assignment, a test, or a project, because that's going to make a difference on how the grade gets calculated. So I actually went ahead and did that part. So I'm going to go ahead and go to that file. And I already started typing. So as you can see, in column A, I wrote, what the category was. In B, I wrote the assignments. I skipped C for a reason, and you'll see that in a little while. And D, I put the actual grade that was earned on the assignment. So keep in mind that your actual assignments might be different. Maybe you're doing the same ones, or maybe you're doing slightly different. So in order to confirm what assignments you have and what your grades are, use your Google Classroom account. All the grades should be there. Also, in some cases, I might be giving you a progress report. So one or the other. If you don't have your progress report, you can go to the Google Classroom account. So going back to the directions, I'm up to number 4, which says I'm ready to type the remainder, which is the bottom half of the spreadsheet. So they want me to type categories, category averages, feel free to pause me and go ahead and do your own typing and then come back if you like. Assignments, projects, tests. Okay. And it also is telling me that in C21, so in this case, we mean the decimals that are going in the weight column, to enter that number as a decimal. If you notice the paper, it says 40%. Well, if you need to enter that in as a decimal, let me show you why. If I just type in the number 40 and then add a percent sign to it, it turns out to the number 4,000%. We don't want that. So we need to do is type in 4.40, and then when I add the percent style, I get 40%. I'm going to go ahead and decrease decimal, and that one's correct. And then I need to do 0.30 and 0.30 and apply the percent style and decrease decimal. So I just did direction number 4, and now direction number 5 wants me to use the average function to enter a formula in this column here for each of these items. So one of the things I paid attention to when I was typing in my assignments was I made sure that anything that had a category of assignment was typed together. all the tests were typed together, and then the projects were typed together. I encourage you to type it in that way because it's going to make it a little easier for you when you do the formulas. So now we need to find the average of all of the assignments. So going to my AutoSum button, I notice that I have a function here called average. So if I click on it, it starts putting in the formula, which is equal average. And now I need to highlight all the numbers that go with the category average. And if you notice in this case, it's D5 through D14. That's the last average one. So here it is, equal average, D5 colon D14. I hit enter, and there we go. So the average of all of my assignments was a 93.3. If I want to double check that I've got the right numbers, I hit the F2 key, the function 2 key, and you can see what numbers were selected. So notice that only the ones with assignment as a category were selected. Moving on, I only have one project, so I don't need to do an average, but if you had more than one, then you would do an average. So I only need to select this one number. So that's it. And for tests, same thing. I can come over here and select average, or I can actually type it. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and type it, equal average, open parenthesis, and these are my tests. There should be 3 of them. And then close parenthesis, enter. And then the test grades were 80. Again, if I want to double check, I'm on the cell, I hit the F2, and they're taking these 3 numbers, and these 3 numbers all have the category of tests. So we just did number 5. Now we're ready to find number 6, which is the term grade. And to do the term grade, that's right here in column B, what we need to do is multiply the weight with the category average. So it's going to be equal category average, B21, times, which is the asterisk, the decimal. And you do that, you get an answer. I'm just going to go ahead and handle that all the way down. So this is telling me that of my total grade, 37 points come from assignments, 28 or 29 points are coming from projects, and 24 points are coming from tests. And direction number 7 wants me to AutoSum this. So you can either use the AutoSum function or actually type it in. So I like to type it in. Equal sum, open parenthesis. I'm going to just go ahead and select these 3 numbers, close parenthesis, and I must have did something wrong. Obviously, when I did an F2, I could see I did something wrong. So let me try that again. It's supposed to be equal sum, open parenthesis, highlight the 3, close parenthesis, and there we go. A 90. That's an A minus. That's how you calculate your average for the course. Now, this is great. This is awesome information. You can actually see, for example, what if Mrs. Serratus is nice enough to allow me to change one of my test grades. And instead of getting a 73, I go ahead and earn a 95. Now, pay attention. The test grades are at 24. I change it to a 95, and look at that. They upped it up. It upped it up to a 26, and this would round up to a 93, and put 2 more points on my final average. So you can see, you can play with the numbers, do some what-if situations, and see how all of this affects you. Now it's time to do some formatting. So that's actually direction number 8. There's a whole list of formatting that needs to be done. So the first one is to adjust the column widths and to make it look like the top of the spreadsheet. So what I'm actually trying to do when I adjust my column widths is I'm being careful that all of the numbers in the last column line up together, that I could still read everything here, and that this doesn't look out of place. So I'm just going to go ahead and make this one a little bit smaller. And maybe I need to make this a little bit bigger, but this here needs to be a little bit smaller for the weights. And then the term averages. Perfect. One thing I've noticed is I did go ahead and already center these numbers. I did do that. That is actually the direction on the paper. It does say to center column D. I did cheat and do that ahead of time. That's why the numbers aren't lining up. So one of the directions is actually to center column D, So I go to the center button. There we go. Now they're all added up.